The wedding dress hung behind me like a ghost. Pure white silk that had cost more than my car. I stared at my reflection in the bridal suite mirror, and for the first time in months, something felt wrong. Not just wrong, terrifying. My hands shook as I reached for my phone. 37 missed calls from my maid of honor, 18 from my mother, 0 from David. The man I was supposed to marry in 53 minutes hadn't called me once. I dialed his number with trembling fingers, straight to voicemail, that smooth, confident voice that had whispered promises in my ear for 3 years now felt like ice water. David, it's me, where are you? Everyone's asking questions and I don't know what to tell them. The silence in that room was suffocating. Outside, I could hear the guests arriving. Car doors slamming. Laughter that sounded hollow and distant. The wedding coordinator's heels clicking frantically across the courtyard. My dress suddenly felt like armor, heavy and suffocating. Sarah burst through the door without knocking. My maid of honor's face was pale, her usually perfect makeup smudged around her eyes. Emma, we need to talk. Is David here? I've been calling him and... He's not coming. The words hit me like a physical blow. I actually stepped backward, my heel catching on the hem of the dress. What do you mean he's not coming? The ceremony starts in 45 minutes. Sarah's hands were shaking worse than mine. She closed the door behind her and turned the lock. That tiny click echoed in the room like a gunshot. Marcus called me 20 minutes ago. Marcus, David's best man, his college roommate and business partner, the man who'd been planning David's bachelor party for weeks. Marcus said David left, just packed a bag and drove away. He said to tell you he couldn't go through with it. The room tilted. Everything went soft around the edges, like I was looking through water. That's not possible. We sent out invitations. We paid for everything. My family flew in from Oregon. His parents are downstairs right now asking where he is. But even as I said it, pieces started falling into place. The way he'd been distant for weeks, the mysterious phone calls he'd take outside, the business trips that seemed to multiply overnight. There's more, Sarah whispered. I looked at her reflection in the mirror. Her face had gone completely white. Marcus said there's something you need to know, something David never told you. My legs gave out. I collapsed onto the velvet chair behind me, the wedding dress pooling around me like spilled milk. He has children, Emma. The words didn't make sense. They bounced around in my head like loose change in an empty jar. That's impossible. David doesn't have children. We talked about having kids someday. He said he wanted to wait until we were financially stable. Twins, Sarah continued, her voice breaking. 2-year-old twins, a boy and a girl. The room spun. I gripped the arms of the chair so hard my knuckles went white. Marcus said David's been sending child support for 2 years. The mother lives in Portland. That's why he's been taking all those business trips. Portland. David had been flying to Portland twice a month for the past year. Strategic consulting, he'd called it. New client acquisition. I'd been so proud of him. So proud of us. Building our life together while he built his career. But he'd been building something else entirely. Emma, say something. I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. The corset of the wedding dress felt like it was crushing my ribs. 2 years. He'd had children for 2 years and never told me. Where is Marcus now? Downstairs. He's trying to figure out what to tell everyone. The guests, the vendors, the... Send him up. Emma, maybe we should. Send him up. Now. Sarah hesitated, then unlocked the door and disappeared into the hallway. I could hear voices escalating downstairs, confused murmurs turning into concerned conversations. In 3 minutes, there would be 200 people expecting to watch me marry a man who'd been lying to me for our entire relationship. The knock on the door was soft, almost apologetic. Emma, it's Marcus. Come in. David's best man stepped into the room like he was entering a crime scene. His dark suit was perfectly pressed, but his face looked like he'd aged 10 years in the past hour. Marcus had always been the responsible one, the one who talked David out of stupid decisions in college, the one who'd helped him start his consulting firm, the one who'd given the most beautiful best man speech at our engagement party. Now he looked like he wanted to disappear. I'm sorry, he said immediately. I'm so fucking sorry, Emma. Tell me everything. He closed the door and leaned against it. His hands were shaking almost as badly as mine. Her name is Jessica. They met 4 years ago at a conference in Seattle, before you two got serious. Before we got serious, I tried to remember the timeline. David and I had been dating for 6 months when he told me he loved me, 8 months when we moved in together. It was supposed to be a one-night thing, but she got pregnant. And he never told me. He panicked, said he was going to tell you, but then you two got engaged, and he thought he could handle everything quietly. Keep paying support, maybe tell you after the wedding. After the wedding, when I'd already legally bound myself to a man who'd been living a double life. How did you find out? Marcus ran a hand through his hair, destroying the careful styling. Jessica called him yesterday, threatened to show up at the wedding if he didn't start seeing the kids more regularly, said she was tired of him treating them like a secret. Smart woman, braver than me. So he ran. He called me this morning from his car, said he was driving to Portland to figure things out, said to tell you he loves you but he can't live with the lying anymore. I laughed, actually laughed. The sound came out sharp and bitter, like broken glass. He loves me but he's been lying to me for 2 years about having children. Emma. What are their names? Marcus blinked. What? The children. What are their names? He looked like I'd slapped him. Lily and Andrew. Lily and Andrew, David's children, who I'd never heard about until an hour before our wedding. I stood up, the wedding dress rustling around me like autumn leaves. I need you to go downstairs and make an announcement. Emma, maybe we should wait. Maybe he'll come back. Maybe. Marcus. My voice was steady now, cold. Look at me. He met my eyes for the first time since entering the room. Do I look like a woman who's waiting? He swallowed hard. What do you want me to say? Tell them the truth. Tell them David won't be joining us today because he forgot to mention he has 2 children with another woman. Emma, that's going to humiliate his family. His parents don't know either. His parents don't know. The anger hit me like a wave. So I'm not the only one he's been lying to. He was trying to protect everyone. He was protecting himself. I walked to the window and looked down at the courtyard. Guests in their finest clothes, chatting and laughing. The string quartet warming up, white roses everywhere because David said they were classic. Everything perfect, except for the groom who'd decided his secret children were more important than the woman he'd promised to marry. There's something else, Marcus said quietly. I turned around. More? What else could there possibly be? The money for the wedding. Some of it came from his business account, the same account he's been using to send child support. The ground shifted under my feet. What are you saying? I'm saying he used money meant for his children to pay for this wedding. The rage that coursed through me was unlike anything I'd ever felt. It started in my stomach and spread like fire through every nerve ending. He'd taken money from his own children to fund our wedding. Money that should have been going to Lily and Andrew had been spent on flowers and catering and a dress that cost more than most people's rent. Get out. Emma. Get out of this room right now, before I do something we'll both regret. Marcus backed toward the door. What do you want me to tell everyone? I looked at myself in the mirror one last time. The perfect bride in the perfect dress, preparing for the perfect wedding to the perfect man who turned out to be a complete stranger. Tell them the wedding is cancelled. Tell them David couldn't be here today because he had somewhere else he needed to be. With his family, his real family. Marcus hesitated. Are you going to be okay? I laughed again, but this time it wasn't bitter, it was something else, something dangerous. Marcus, I'm going to be better than okay. He left, closing the door softly behind him. I sat back down in the velvet chair and pulled out my phone. It took me 30 seconds to find Jessica Morrison in Portland, Oregon on social media. Her profile was private, but her profile picture was visible. A beautiful woman with dark hair, holding 2 toddlers, a boy with David's eyes, a girl with David's smile. Lily and Andrew, the children my fiancé had hidden from me for 2 years. I sent her a friend request with a simple message. I think we need to talk. Then I called my lawyer. Sarah came back 20 minutes later to find me sitting calmly in the wedding dress, my phone in one hand and a legal pad covered in notes in the other. Emma? Marcus made the announcement. Most people are leaving, but your family wants to see you. In a minute. What are you doing? I looked up at her. Planning. Planning what? David thinks he can run away from this. He thinks he can abandon me at the altar and disappear into his new life with his secret family. Sarah sat down on the edge of the bed. Emma, maybe it's better this way. Maybe him leaving saved you from. He stole from his own children to pay for this wedding, Sarah. Her mouth fell open. That money should have been going to support Lily and Andrew. Instead, it paid for flowers that are already wilting and food that's going to be thrown away. I stood up and walked to my purse. Inside was the checkbook for our joint account. The account we'd opened 6 months ago to manage wedding expenses. There's still $8,000 in the wedding account, money that came from his business, which means it came from child support payments. What are you going to do? I tore out a check and started writing. Paid to the order of Jessica Morrison, $8,000. I'm going to make sure this money gets where it was supposed to go in the first place. Sarah watched me sign the check with careful, deliberate strokes. You don't even know this woman. I know enough. I know she's been raising David's children while he played house with me. I know he's been sending her money while lying to my face about it. And I know she deserves better than a man who treats his own kids like a dirty secret. My phone buzzed. A friend request acceptance from Jessica Morrison, along with a message. I had no idea about the wedding. I'm so sorry. I typed back quickly. Don't apologize. We both deserve the truth. Are you free to talk? Her response came immediately. Yes. The kids are napping. David showed up here this morning in a panic. Said he couldn't go through with the wedding, but wouldn't explain why. Perfect. He'd run straight to Portland without telling Jessica what he'd done. I called the number she sent me. Jessica, this is Emma, David's. Well, I guess I'm not his fiancé anymore. Her voice was soft, tired. I'm so sorry. I had no idea he was getting married today. He never mentioned you. Of course he hadn't, just like he'd never mentioned her to me. Jessica, I need to ask you something. Has David been regular with child support? A long pause. Not really. It comes when it comes. Sometimes it's a lot, sometimes it's nothing for months. I've been working 2 jobs to make ends meet. The anger flared again, hot and bright and focused. Well, that's about to change. I explained about the wedding fund, about the money that had come from his business account, about the check I was sending her. Emma, I can't take your money. It's not my money, it's your children's money, money he spent on a wedding instead of sending to them. She was quiet for a long time. He really did that? He really did that. Those beautiful babies you have deserve so much better than this. They deserve a father who's proud of them. And you deserve support that comes regularly, not when it's convenient for him. Another pause. What are you going to do? I looked at myself in the mirror. The wedding dress suddenly felt like war paint. I'm going to make sure David fucking Reynolds never lies to another woman again. We talked for another hour. Jessica told me about the twins, about how David had visited exactly 3 times in 2 years, about how he'd promised to be more involved but never followed through. She told me about working double shifts at the hospital while her mother watched the kids, about missing rent payments when David's support was late. She sent me pictures of Lily and Andrew, beautiful children with David's features but Jessica's strength in their eyes. Children who deserve better than a father who treated them like an inconvenience. After we hung up, I called my lawyer again. Margaret, it's Emma. I need to know about parental rights and child support enforcement. Emma, honey, are you sure you want to get involved in this? It sounds like your ex-fiancé's mess, not yours. His mess became my mess the moment he used money from those children to pay for our wedding. Margaret sighed. Okay, what do you need to know? I spent the next 2 hours learning about legal options, about how child support enforcement worked, about what constituted fraud when it came to misappropriating support payments. Turns out, using money designated for child support to pay for personal expenses was very much illegal. By the time I finally took off the wedding dress, I had a plan. Sarah helped me out of the layers of silk and satin. The dress that had felt like armor now felt like a costume I was shedding. You're really going to war with him, aren't you? I pulled on jeans and a sweater, normal clothes that felt foreign after hours in bridal wear. I'm going to hold him accountable. Emma, he's already lost everything. The wedding, you, probably his relationship with his parents when they find out about the kids. Good. Maybe losing everything will teach him something about honesty. But as I said it, I realized this wasn't just about David anymore. This was about Jessica, working 2 jobs to support children whose father was too ashamed to acknowledge them publicly. This was about Lily and Andrew, growing up thinking their daddy didn't want to see them. This was about every woman who'd ever been lied to by a man who thought he could compartmentalize his life without consequences. My phone rang, David's number. I let it go to voicemail. He called again and again. On the 4th call, I answered. Emma, thank God. I know you're angry, but I can't explain. Explain what, David? Explain how you've had children for 2 years and never told me. Explain how you used their support money to pay for our wedding. Explain how you left me standing in a wedding dress an hour before the ceremony. I panicked. I should have told you about Lily and Andrew months ago, but I didn't know how. I was scared you'd leave. So instead, you decided to marry me without telling me you had children. I love you, Emma. I love you more than anything. You love me so much, you lied to me for our entire relationship. It wasn't like that. Jessica was a mistake. The kids were an accident. What we have is real. The casual way he dismissed his own children made my blood run cold. Those children aren't mistakes, David. They're human beings. They're your human beings. I know. I'm here now. I'm going to figure things out with Jessica, and then I'll come home and we can talk about everything. There's nothing to figure out, and there's no home to come back to. Silence. What do you mean? I mean I'm moving out of the apartment. I mean the wedding is cancelled permanently. I mean we're done. Emma, please. Don't make any big decisions right now. You're emotional and… I'm not emotional, David. I'm clear-headed for the first time in months. Just give me a chance to fix this. I almost laughed. Fix this? You want to fix having secret children? I want to fix us. There is no us anymore. There's you, and there's Jessica and your kids, and there's me, starting over without any of you. Emma. I hung up and immediately blocked his number. Then I called Jessica back. How did it go with David? He's in full panic mode, wants to figure things out and then come back to fix our relationship. Jessica made a disgusted sound. Let me guess, he called the kids an accident again. How did you know? Because that's what he always does when he feels cornered, like Lily and Andrew happened to him instead of being choices he made. Jessica, I meant what I said earlier, about making sure he can't do this to anyone else. What do you have in mind? I told her about my conversation with a lawyer, about the legal implications of misusing child support money, about options for enforcement. You would really help me with this? I would really help you with this. Why? You don't owe me anything. If anything, I should be apologizing to you. I thought about that. Why was I getting involved in the legal troubles of a woman I'd never met, fighting for children who weren't mine? Because he hurt both of us, because Lily and Andrew deserve better, and because I'm tired of men thinking they can lie their way through life without consequences. Emma? Yeah? Thank you. 2 weeks later, I was in Portland. The flight had been Jessica's idea. She'd invited me to meet the twins, and something about her voice when she asked made it impossible to say no. David had been calling both of us non-stop, begging Jessica for another chance, promising Emma he'd changed, swearing to everyone who'd listen that he was ready to be the man we both deserved. Neither of us was buying it. I knocked on Jessica's apartment door with a gift bag in one hand and legal documents in the other. The woman who answered was even more beautiful in person. Dark hair pulled back in a messy bun, kind eyes that looked exhausted but determined. And holding her hand was a little girl with David's smile and Jessica's stubborn chin. You must be Emma. And you must be Lily. The little girl hid behind her mother's legs, peeking out at the stranger on the doorstep. Come in. Andrew's in his high chair destroying a banana. The apartment was small but warm. Toys everywhere, the comfortable chaos of a home where children were actually wanted and cared for. Andrew looked exactly like David had in his baby pictures. Same dark hair, same serious expression. He looked up from his banana sculpture and gave me a gummy smile. They're beautiful, Jessica. They're everything to me. We sat at the small kitchen table while the twins played. I pulled out the legal documents Margaret had prepared. These are child support enforcement papers. If you file them, the court will garnish David's wages automatically. He won't be able to skip payments anymore. Jessica looked through the papers carefully. And the fraud charges? Those are separate. If you want to pursue them, we have documentation that he used child support money for personal expenses. The wedding vendors have receipts. What would happen to him? Depends on how much money we're talking about and how the judge feels about fathers who steal from their own children. Jessica was quiet for a long time, watching Andrew try to feed banana to his toy truck. I don't want to destroy him, I just want him to take care of his kids. Those aren't mutually exclusive goals. What do you mean? I mean, maybe facing real consequences is exactly what he needs to become the father Lily and Andrew deserve. David had been painting himself as the victim in this whole situation. Poor David, caught between two women. Poor David, overwhelmed by responsibility he never asked for. But sitting in that apartment, watching Jessica juggle work and parenting and bills while David played the wounded hero, I saw the truth clearly. He wasn't a victim. He was a man who'd made choices and then tried to escape the consequences by lying to everyone who loved him. Jessica, can I ask you something? Of course. Do you still love him? She considered the question while Lily brought her a plastic teacup filled with invisible tea. I love the fantasy of him, the man he could be if he grew up and took responsibility for his life. But the actual David? The one who shows up here in a panic when his other life falls apart? No. I don't love that man anymore. Good. That man doesn't deserve love from either of us. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Emma, it's David. I know you blocked me, but I needed you to know I'm getting help. I'm in therapy, I want to be better for everyone. I showed Jessica the message. He's been sending me the same thing, different words, same message. I'm changing, give me another chance, I promise I'll be different. How many times has he promised to change before? Every time I threatened to take him to court for missed support payments. I deleted the text without responding. Jessica, I think it's time to file those papers. She nodded. I think you're right. We spent the afternoon at the courthouse. The clerk who helped us was a middle-aged woman who'd clearly seen this story before. Honey, she told Jessica, men like this don't change until they're forced to change. You're doing the right thing. By the time I flew back home, David was officially on the hook for regular, court-mandated child support, plus back payments, plus penalties for missed payments. His wages would be garnished automatically. He couldn't skip payments anymore without facing jail time. And Jessica had filed fraud charges for the money he'd taken from the children to pay for our wedding. David called me from Portland that night, somehow having gotten a new number. Emma, please, you have to call off Jessica. She's trying to destroy me. She's trying to get support for your children. The court order is for more money than I can afford, and the fraud charges? That could ruin my business. You should have thought about that before you stole from Lily and Andrew. I didn't steal from them. I borrowed from the business. I was going to pay it back. When? After you married me and had access to my savings account too. Silence. That's what this was really about, wasn't it? You needed money to handle Jessica and the support payments, so you figured you'd marry someone with a good job and stable finances. That's not true. But his voice had lost its conviction. Did you love me at all, David, or was I just a convenient solution to your financial problems? I loved you. I love you. You love the idea of me, the successful, independent woman who could help you clean up your messes. But you never loved me enough to tell me the truth. Emma. Don't call me again, don't text me, Don't contact me through friends or family. We're done, and your children deserve better than a father who treats them like an inconvenience. I hung up and blocked the new number. 3 months later, Jessica sent me a picture of Lily and Andrew at a playground. They looked happy, healthy, thriving. The text that came with it said, "The support payments are coming regularly now. We're moving to a bigger apartment next month. Thank you for everything." I framed that picture and put it on my new apartment's mantelpiece. David had tried to contact me a few more times through mutual friends, but the message was always the same. He was sorry, he'd changed, he wanted another chance. But I'd learned something important in those weeks after the wedding that wasn't. Some chances aren't worth taking. Some people don't deserve forgiveness just because they ask for it. And sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is walk away from someone who's shown you exactly who they are. I never saw David again, but every few months, Jessica sends me updates about the twins, Lily starting preschool, Andrew taking his first steps, birthday parties and Christmas mornings, and all the moments that make up a childhood. Moments that David could have been part of if he'd chosen honesty over convenience. The wedding dress went to a consignment shop, where it hopefully found a bride who deserved the happiness I'd thought I was buying. And I learned to be grateful for the bombshell that destroyed my wedding day, because it saved me from marrying a stranger.